And now for our feature presentation, right? So we'll start off with Superman, Shazam, The Return of Black Adam, right? Which was a show that I honestly forgot about it, to be honest, right? Because this was actually part of the DC Showcase, right? This collection of films that I believe they dropped around 2010. Yeah, around 2010, I believe it was, right? I know around that time this was when the DC animated films were just in full gear. You know what I mean? It was just every year literally you would just get one film being dropped, right? Or one, or at least one, I should say, right? So recapping this, or I should say watching this, for some reason I felt like I saw this before, right? But in a nutshell, what it's about, it's just really the origin story of Shazam, right? But it's kind of built around Superman because he is in Fawcett City, I believe it is called, right?
Forsyth
Yes.
City, Forsyth,
For,
Forsyth
for
City.
it's
I
Fawcett. It's
I can't
Fawcett.
remember.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
Fawcett, yeah. Right, doing some kind of story, and somehow he gets in touch with Bill Batson. Sorry, Billy Batson, and
Hmm.
talk with him and whatnot. And then, well, out of the blue, well, not really out of the blue, but how they set it up, it kind of appears to be out of the blue. Black Adam shows up, because he's just looking for the champion, the one who has that Shazam powers or whatnot. And yeah, essentially, it is how Billy kind of it's the origin story basically that we get here, right? Um, but because it's a short film, that story is pretty much condensed into 24 minutes, right? And I will just say, just to kick things off, they actually do a pretty solid job in terms of just establishing who this character is, his mannerisms and whatnot as a kid, and yeah, essentially how he would feel, knowing that all right, if I see the word Shazam, a bolt of lightning come and hit me now, and I'm swole now, and I could fly and super strength and whatnot, and I could, I am pretty much, you know, a version of Superman, or I should say his own Superman, right? And I actually do like the idea of pairing him with Superman himself, right? Because yeah, it is a character that he looks up to, right? So now he has a chance to kind of fight alongside him, and well, Superman being the guy that he is, pretty much had to tell him, yo, you know what I mean, don't kill and all that kind of stuff, right? But the reason why I chose this film here to talk about, amongst all the other, DC animated films that we got, before this year, right, is, if I'm not mistaken, in terms of the animated films, right, and the short films, this is the only time that you do see Black Adam, right? This is the only time. I mean, and no, well, sorry. I mean, he has showed up, like he can appear in a couple of the shows and whatnot, but like in terms of him just being like a central character, him being like an antagonist, this is the only film that was able to do that, and that's kind of weird though. Like I think that, I don't know, in my opinion, I think that he is a character that could be expanded a lot more in the animated universe. It's almost like if they were just kind of saving him because Dwayne Johnson was just so adamant, right? Haha.
Right.
In making him into a live action character, right? So I don't know, it's kind of weird, right? But yeah, you know what I mean? Because I don't know, for me, it just feels like he is a character that could have appeared in a lot more other DC animated films, right? But anyway, I would say that the voice acting for what it is solid. George Newbern, he plays Clark Kent slash Superman.
Yeah.
Jerry O'Connell, plays Captain Marvel. Arnold Vosloo. I mean, that's a name I haven't heard in a long while, right? He actually plays Black Adam, right? I like that he actually put some, some
I
Middle
could have
Eastern,
seen him actually
feel
even
into it.
being Black Adam in like a early 90s version of the
Right.
movie.
Well,
Oh
it's
yeah,
very
yeah. Or for
well,
his
they
look,
got
yeah.
yeah, the DCAU did a really good job with Black Adam and Shazam as well. Well, Shazam and it is, well, yeah, George Newbern returns as his role because he was Superman in Justice League. So it was like
Yeah.
a kind of a DCAU light kind of vehicle kind of thing they was doing at the time.
Yes.
Because yeah, that was like still by and large the most popular thing, animated wise. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, well, of course, I mean, I actually remember Captain Marvel from Justice League Unlimited as well too, right? But what was really interesting for me now was seeing the voice actor for Shazam. It was actually James Garner, as in the James Garner, as in classic, legendary actor who passed away years ago, him, right? Playing Shazam. I thought that was really interesting, right? Now I will say, just to kind of wrap things up, while I mean I don't know all things Shazam, right? So I was like kind of weirded out when I saw the Tawny character show up near the end, right? It's kind of funny how they revealed that it was actually the black guy in the film who was voiced by, none other than Kevin Michael Richardson, right? i.e. Goro from Mortal Kombat, right? But yeah, I have no clue who this character is. Like all of a sudden, he's this black guy. He turns into a talking tiger. I'm not really sure what it's about because I'm not really familiar with Shazam or Captain Marvel books at all, right? But yeah, I mean, for what it is, as just this 24-minute short, it worked. You know, it kind of just deliver the goods. You know, it just show you the character. You get a little couple of decent fights here or there. You know what I mean? And yeah, I mean, it's solid, right? Not a show that I will revisit, of course, but you know, it's something that I was glad that I was reminded of, right? Because yeah, I actually forgot about these short films, to be honest, right? Because I mean, let me be real, there's just so much content, there's so much films that came out of DC and Warner Brothers Animation, right? Ricardo, do you remember seeing this, or you remember anything
Yeah,
of it?
vaguely remember it. As I say, it was in and out for me. I just remember, yeah, it just had a pretty decent fight. Um, and the big sticking point was, all right, Superman is somewhat susceptible to magic. So that's why Shazam was the necessary one to take him out. Yeah, that was about it. Like, why you said I always come up with a question, why Superman need help now? And yeah, they did an okay job with that. That's all about it. I remembered. Yeah, there's nothing else really worth talking about. But how long it was? Like 10 minutes? I can't remember this being too
No,
long.
it was about 24 minutes.
Okay, right. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what I remember.
it
It was
just
like,
kind of
yeah, like
goes in and out, like boom.
right,
you
yeah.
know?
So that's about it. Again, the big sticking point is, all right, Superman kind of susceptible to magic. Therefore, he need help from other people who kind of magic-y, kind of, maybe.
Yeah.
That's about it. Yeah.
Right. Summer, do you remember this
I
at
do.
all?
I do. I just I don't remember the whole thing, but I do remember that it had that really epic action sequence battle. Because power base wise, of course, Captain Marvel. If you go back into the history of this character and what DC did and Marvel and the creation, this is basically he was Superman before there was Superman.
Right.
So everybody wanted to see this, and it makes sense that as Ricardo points out, they'd have to have a reason to weaken Soups. Why would he need help? That sort of thing. I did like the animation, and I think it holds up it pretty nicely. The animation style. Granted, over the years, I am glad DC has moved on to doing more, taking more risks with the animation because it was getting a bit stale. But yeah, for what it was fine. It's not one of my like top 10 DC animated, that I
Yeah.
that I have in mind or anything like that. But it was fine for what it was.
Yeah.
Right.
I think
Tracy,
I
did
think
you?
I think by
Okay,
this
sorry.
point, I think Crisis on 2 it came out. When
I,
did
I
that
I
come?
think
I
so. In
think
terms
so,
of the
Yeah.
yeah.
So
yeah, in terms of the chronology, I think
right. So
I
that's
think
why I
that
was
came
like,
out.
that's why it was like a big step down for me. And I was like, oh well, okay. I mean, they could have done more with
Yeah.
this. I was
Yeah.
expecting like some big, deep, like, big Captain Marvel law involving rest of the Justice League, and they're like, oh, it's just Black Adam by himself. All right, well, no problem.
Yeah.
In
I
and
think
out.
if they left Superman out of it, we could have gotten a
Would have been
better
okay, right?
thing story wise,
Yeah.
because that sort of thing.
Yeah. Agreed. Tracy, did you see this? Or do you remember seeing this?
I did. I do. In preparation, I kind of just glossed over it again before, our meeting here. Here's the thing that I liked about it. I liked, actually, funny enough, the involvement of Superman, because how you start off seeing the story is Billy is pretty much, well, Billy as in like he's living on his own and he's in some kind of a, Wonka doodle looking apartment and that kind of stuff. And Clark is kind of as not just as a reporter, but he's kind of a bit of a father figure to him. He's talking to him. He's getting him breakfast. He's basically part of his life. And then Black Adam comes in, and then all the fighting and everything happens. I kind of though would place this movie the same way how I would place it with Superman, Batman, Public Enemies. Like
Right.
the Public Enemies has has it starts off with something that resembles a storyline, and then it devolves into a whole punch fest with all the different villains trying to get the bounty off of Superman and Batman. And it's the same thought process that plays out here, although I think that one came out way later than Superman, Shazam, Black Adam. I mean, it's a fun watch. It is a legitimate fun watch, but I'm going to agree with someone in terms of I don't see it being like in my all-time favorite, and if I have to go and make a list now, that would be hilarious. But it's not going to be in my all-time favorite films. But it is cool to see Superman. Yes, in terms of the foil aspect of it, the idea that he can't deal with magic and this is a magic wielder, but also the idea of being something of a mentor. And it's funny that you should mention Justice League Unlimited because I remember when Billy resigned, when Captain Marvel resigned from
Right.
the Justice League, and it was the whole idea of I looked up to you. You were the person that I looked up to, and
Yeah.
now you guys just suck.
Yeah.
And so to see,
I
so to
remember
see,
that. Yeah.
that's after Superman went and totally wreck the
Luthor
Metropolis
fixed it.
building.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, the big setup. Yeah. Yeah.
you know,
Luthor set them up.
Luther's expression is like, "Don't worry, we can always rebuild." It's like, yeah, all right.
You know. Yeah.
But that whole, like seeing him in this situation as a mentor, as a Billy, you can do this. The idea of helping him become, if I remember it correctly, helping him become, versus seeing him in Justice League Unlimited, where it's like so stubborn and hard-headed. This is Superman. That is, it really is kind of a hilarity watching the two. But yeah, it's one of those movies that was good for its time. I do like the animation a great deal as well, and voice work is solid. I do remember there was two Superman um, voice actors because I know Newberry, but there was the other guy with the glasses whose name escapes me and I can't remember it right now, who used to play later on down in one of the Justice Leagues. But I like it. It was cool. It was a vibe.
Right, cool, cool. All right, so up next, let's talk about Batman and Superman Battle of the Super Sons, right? This is the
Yes.
newest direct-to-video superhero, film, basically from the DC Universe animated original movies, Jesus Christ, right? This is where we at, right? Um, it's standalone, right? So it's not like related to like Justice League Dark or any other stuff that we got prior, right? Or like stuff like say Superman Man of Tomorrow, for example, right? Yeah, so saw the trailer fit. I was intrigued by it, you know what I mean? But really the sell is just seeing, Jonathan and Damian, team up, well, I guess for the first time in these movies now to do battle against, well, primarily the adult superheroes, right? So it's not just the Justice League, but also their father figures, if you will. So it's yeah, I mean it's Batman and Superman that they have to face in some way, shape, or form, right? So what it's about in a nutshell, right? So we see Jonathan more or less kind of in living in Smallville with his parents, what I mean, Clark and Lois, right? And they actually do a nice little piece of subversion where you think that Jonathan knew who his father was. Like there's a moment where he actually sees the Superman suit. He says he sniffs it. Sorry, he says cosplay, and then he sniffs it like and then puts back the boxer. That was really interesting, right? But yeah, essentially he does not know that his father is Superman, right? And well, through some circumstances, he does find out, and then he's all stoked about it, like, oh my god, my father's Superman, yeah, right? And yeah, I mean Superman does the thing where he takes him out, he's flying and all that kind of stuff. And then he just decides to take him to Gotham City. And then well, Jonathan meets, Bruce for the first time, i.e. Batman. And then well eventually he meets, Damian, right? Who is Batman's, son, right? And well, there's a setup early on about Starro, or the character of Starro. Y'all let me know if that origin story, that little piece of origin story that we saw in the beginning, if that is exactly how Starro became Starro. Yeah, because I don't know, like I know nothing about Starro, to be honest. I just remember him, sorry, appearing in a couple of comics and whatnot. And that's before the Suicide Squad movie came out, right? But yeah, y'all have to tell me if that is the origin, that is the actual origin of Starro, right? But anyway,
Pretty much.
and yeah, and yeah, I mean Starro being this parasitic alien starfish now, yeah, just pretty much since it spores out, it actually does a really clever thing where it goes into the Justice League watchtower now, and pretty much takes over everyone there, starting with Green Arrow, right? And yeah, essentially it finds its way down to Earth and spreads all over, well, or I should say all over Metropolis, and well, yeah, well, sorry, yeah, the center of Metropolis actually, right? Not so much Gotham City, which is kind of weird, right? But anyway, and yes, now left to well, Superboy. Well, we'll call him that here, and Damian now, i.e. Robin, to yeah save the day. So I'll just start with my thoughts, right, on the show, and then I'll get to rating, right? So if I have a few gripes with this, right? But one that I just like, I don't know, maybe it's just me being a little nitpicky here, but your title of your movie is Batman and Superman, right? And yes, I understand that the nature of the show, right? Because it's really going for a more light-hearted approach to its source material, right? It's not as dark in quotes as the other stuff that we got before. It's much lighter, right? Which works, right? It absolutely works. It brings a sense of joy, to the film and whatnot, right? And but the thing is, because the first 15 or 20 minutes or so center on Superman, I'm there like watching the time now. I'm like, all right, where's Batman? Like Batman get first, top billing. So where's Batman and all of this, right? I just find it so funny that it just took a moment where Superman literally flies into Gotham City. Oh, and on the subject of that, man, like the moment they
What's
get
that
there,
smell?
yes, Jonathan's like, what's that smell? Like, oh gosh, like I know Gotham is the worst city on earth, right? But
Yeah,
go on, but it's
Gotham is
not that
basically Port
bad.
of Spain, right? It's Port of Spain.
Yeah,
I know,
yeah.
but not that bad that when you flying overhead, you smelling like like you get a whiff or something off. They're like, come on, movie, come on. It's not that bad, right? But yeah, it was kind of weird seeing that this is how Batman is going to be introduced into the story. Because in my mind, I thought that we were going to see, like, it was just going to keep cutting back to the relationship between Bruce and Damian. But no, it's just for 15, 20 minutes of Clark and Jonathan, and Jonathan realizes Clark is Superman, and then eventually they go into Gotham, and then eventually he meets Bruce and Damien. I thought that was really weird though. I like, for me, just being nitpicky, I wish that they at least brought in Batman earlier on into the film. But I understand it is the tone. Okay, we want to have it a little bit more, upbeat. So let's just center on, Jonathan, right? And him pretty much being the person who pretty much kicks off the show actually works, right? Because yeah, it is about him becoming a superhero. Damien is a dick in the show,
Yeah.
but but I like that,
That's Damien.
eventually it does work, in terms of, look at this bright-eyed kid who think, oh, he's the son of Superman, he's supposed to be better than me. Just like how you just keep hitting him like that, now, you know what I mean? There's a great bit involving Damien and a cow that came out of nowhere, but I thought that shit was hilarious in my opinion. This time a moment he says, of course I have a cow. Like, I don't know, there's something about that is hilarious to me, right? Um and I like how the whole setup with Starro is was established as well too. Although again, you'll tell me if that is how that um sorry, if that character origin is exactly how it's portrayed in this film here, right? The voice acting is solid for what it is though. Not really familiar with the, well, actually I lie. Jack Dylan Grazer, actually, who appeared in it. He played Eddie.
And
Yeah, he
he's
plays
Freddy in
Superboy.
Shazam as well.
And he's in Shazam. Yeah,
Yeah, he's
yeah.
in
Yes.
That was
Shazam. That's right.
myself
Grr,
when I saw
Yeah.
it.
Right, right. I forgot. I forgot. Oops. Yeah, and they got Jack Griffo, who I'm not familiar with at all. He plays Robin, right?
Right.
Um the actor Travis Willingham, who plays Superman, who plays, well, Clark Kent, right?
Yes, Willingham,
His
Vox Machina.
yes, I
Yeah,
forgot that too.
love that
Yes,
show. Love that show.
Legend of Vox Machina is great, guys. You all should check it out, right? But yeah, actually, like, his fatherly Clark voice took a while for me to get used to. Like, I
Yeah.
felt like he sounded a little bit more fatherly than normal. Then if he hate, you'll understand what I mean, right? But I had to acclimatize my ears to it, and it worked, right?
Right.
Even right out to, well, Troy Baker, I mean, Troy Baker, of course, right?
Yeah.
Playing Batman, you know what I mean? It works, right? The voice acting is solid, right?
Troy's
About the
Batman in
anime,
games, right? Just asking. He is the voice of Batman in the Arkham games, right? Troy Baker.
Can't
is
remember.
he? Right, so he was Joker in Arkham
The
Origins.
Joker. Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Okay, right. Yeah, so about the animation, right? That was also something that I had to get used to, right? It was not bad, that sort of cell shaded 3D
I mean, they're clearly
anime-esque kind of thing.
experimenting. They're clearly experimenting with it, but it's still not there now. And I don't know.
Yeah.
I get that the progress is there. It's kind of like it's like with Disney and them Star Wars movies and them 3D face thing. Now. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, they're all pushing this way. Okay.
You know? Yeah. It's some, but for me, what is kind of take me out of it is like when the characters speak.
Yeah.
Like they always add that like a little shadow on the mouth, sorry, on the teeth. So I don't know, it's something about that, and then how the eyes look as well too. Is kind of take you out. So it's almost like they kind of look a little bit more robotic than actually normal. It's kind of weird how it looks, right? But again, it's something that you had to get used to when you watched it, right? But you know the sets and the background stuff look pretty stellar in my opinion, right? Um, Also, just in terms of pacing, I thought that the pacing was very well handled. Again, just except for the opening, which I felt we could have gotten to the Batman stuff pretty early. But just like the setup with Starro and how that builds, right? Even including a nice reveal with my boy Lex. Like I didn't expect that. I didn't expect President Lex and the little twist that they did there, right? But that was really cool. And they actually got like some not really gross out moments, but some OMG or holy shit moments involving the Starro parasite. Like every time like they kind of come out of a human's mouth, that actually kind of looks pretty creepy, right? So I guess that's why it is still PG-13, right? So because yeah, initially it kind of starts off kind of PG-ish, but yeah, when things start when shit literally hit the fan, that's when you really get that sort of PG-13 kind of stuff, right? Um, and this lastly, before I get to written music, good for what it is. Kind of, I don't want to say generic, but just kind of, all right. There's a Superman show, so you're gonna get a lot of horn assisted, triumphant music in it as well too. But I do like, like in the moments where things get dark now, they actually do, the music, the score itself, fits those moments as well too. So it's not all bright and sunshiny like the old Superman bits and whatnot, right? And yeah, I mean, for what it is, I enjoyed it. I actually had fun with it. There were numerous moments where I just had a smile on my face. 'Cause it was just so fun and upbeat now. I mean, compared to what we saw before. But really, what makes it work though is just that dynamic between Damien and Jonathan, right? I do wish that we got a little bit more character depth in terms of Damien, like in terms of, all right, what does it mean for him to be under Batman's wing? You know what I mean? Like, how what does that mean to him, right? And compare that to see Jonathan, who just wants to live up to his father now, and now realizing, oh my God, he's Superman now, so now I have to step up even more, right? And look at me and all these powers, and now I have to try to be as great as my dad. So I like that, but I felt we could have got a little bit more of that with Damien as well too, right? Will we get more of these in the future? I don't think so. I really don't. I really don't. And I really hope not. I should say. Like I do hope that this is just this one-off thing. Because yeah, as a one-off thing, it actually works. But I don't see this thing being some sort of series. Like you will get like a subsequent film that's centered on the two of them, right? And I forgot to mention too, I like the inclusion, if you will, of the Teen Titans. I thought that was really clever as well. Nice little bit involving Damian, on the phone with Wonder Girl and asking, if I get if they pretty much gonna let him in or not. But it's like, no, you need to learn to work with a team and whatnot, right? So I dug those little moments as well too, right? So yeah, rating wise, strong 3 to like 3.5 out of 5, man. It's alright for what it is, man. It's fun. It doesn't overstay its welcome. You'll have fun watching it, right? But again, I just find that with Batman, just being at the very beginning of the title, you could have a little bit more Batman in it as well too. You know what I mean? And yeah, a little bit more development in terms of Robin as well too, right? But yeah, for what it is, it's fine. I had fun with this one. Uh, Ricardo, any thoughts on this show, Battle Super?
I dug it for it was as I say. Yeah, the major complaint is that it was too much of a Jonathan show more than anything, and I felt like we could have gotten, more that, more of Damien, to be honest. Like, yeah, because to me the more interesting stuff was Damien. Like that bouncing off of him and the father. And yeah, we didn't get enough of that, but it was decent for what it was. The story itself, again, it made perfect sense. Them fighting Star Wars, like, all right, yeah, our early Justice League villain, great, do that. But I really wanted more though, to be honest. As it is, it's just solid voice acting. Jonathan got on my nerves at times, but it's like, oh, he's a kid, fine. It's supposed to be kind of annoying, for what it was, but I really thought we could have just got more. Two things. I wanted more Teen Titans action, to be honest. But I really wanted just more Damian stuff, like just him, his more personal perspective. He was more the side character in this, to be honest. That's about it. Nothing really to write home about. Again, animation is up to you. It's get old. It's something that just kind of weigh on you after a while. It's like, they could do more with this. But I thought it was fine for what it was. Ultimately, they're trying to experiment with it and trying to get it better. And if they could get it, at least at 60 frames, or something smoothly, relatively smooth, or movie quality smooth or something like that, you could get it to work. But as it is, it is too inconsistent and choppy and in a good way. Like you see how Spider-Verse is doing it in a kind of decent way because they make it a kind of workably stylistic choice. Not so much with this. Or what's the movie that came out the other day that had that?
Intergalactic or
Intergalactic,
that same
right.
show, yeah, with the
Right,
frame rate.
right. Where the frame rate is a factor, but like it don't bother you as much. I think it's because of the art style too that you just laid get up us all too much. But with this, it felt a little too just felt frankly unfinished. Like it's like, oh well, I need to put in more frames there or something like that. I don't know. Nice about it. It's fine. And the thing is, I know they could do it because this new show does a decent job with its animation. The new Star Trek show, the kid show, Prodigy. That has 3D, but that doesn't feel choppy like this now. So I don't know why it's so choppy or why it is the way it is. But yeah, whatever. There's probably some explanation that's perfectly valid. Character-wise, it was fine. Story was okay. Again, it's a Starro conspiracy. Fine, yeah. Like, okay, standard stuff in my opinion. Nothing special, no twist. I didn't expect the Lex Luthor being president thing was kind of cool. The real twist with Lex Luthor was a little more interesting. I was like, all right, that was all right. But yeah, they just had the dynamic with the two of them. I felt they could have done more with it, to be honest. But like, yeah, it was perfectly fine as it is. Quick rating, like I said, out of 10. It's fine.
All right. And well, anybody who could answer this for me will share their thoughts, right? So is the Starro origin that we see at the very beginning exactly how he becomes Starro? Or not?
Could you just give us a rundown of that origin again?
Because we don't see him in his actual origin. It's just, he was discovered by Kryptonians and then he sneak on aboard the ship. That was about it. Like, that's not...
Right.
I mean, that was new for me, because like I know Starro as being Starro the Conqueror, Starro the Conqueror, who's floating around in space, and then whenever he finds a civilization, he does shit. But the idea of like in the beginning where he's part of some sort of display in the Kryptonian in a Kryptonian house, and then just latches onto the ship.
Right. It was an aquarium.
It was like a display aquarium kind of something. So I saw that and I said, oh, okay. So is it that they had captured him and did the experiments?
It was basically that. They had captured him and they had kept him, kind of like what happened with Suicide Squad, to study him. Because Krypton is mostly a planet that was known for its scientific minds.
Right.
So,
and Jor-El himself, and Jor-El is the head of that. So
yeah. So it was basically... I don't think what they were doing is, I just think they did not focus on Starro's origins. Instead, everybody knows who Starro is, so we'll just kind of do it this way.
Right.
Okay.
It's
kind of weird. It's kind of weird.
It's really not special. It's like, okay, they just do a quick explanation of why Starro in this plotline dies. Okay, good. In and out.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know. Yeah, Summer, your thoughts on Battle of the Super Sons?
Well, breaking it down really, story-wise, I did like it because it's actually very, very close to the comic books, the Super Son comic books, and that was surprising.
Which I have.
Good run, yeah. The animation, the way they look is very, very close to the way they look in those books, and even in the Super Son comic books. Tracy, you could stop me if I'm wrong because I haven't read them in a while, but the focus is mainly on Jonathan. It's more.
There's a lot of Jonathan, and then of course the actual here we're going out on missions to do things.
Yeah,
I have issue 1 somewhere in a bag sitting down somewhere. I'm gonna go look for it after this is over.
So I wasn't perturbed by Damian taking a backseat because he already got his story told in Son of Batman. So, this was more the whole Jonathan Kent. The only aspect of it that is expanded more in the comics is his whole trying to become a member of the Teen Titans and them saying he's not a team player there. That happens in the books as well. So story wise, I didn't have an issue with the story. I actually thought the voice acting was pretty good by everybody involved. The Superman voice, yeah, that took a minute to get used to for me too, Matthew. Just for the fact that they changed him again, I really, I don't think they've found the actor that they really want to voice this character the way Kevin Conroy voiced Batman for such a long time. Um,
Yeah.
the the animation, I'm not a fan of this style of animation because I find it makes movement. This seems so wooden, and this is definitely you don't want that kind of movement from these types of characters. However, it was a lot better than this style I've seen previously in other stuff like Berserk and that sort of thing. I guess because it went the um 2D animation style instead of 3D, that was the death knell of that whole new Golden Egg saga. So overall, I would give it a yes, a 6.5 to 7 out of 10. It's the pacing definitely does a lot to keep it enjoyable because it's very tightly paced. Um, and it is another Star story, but yeah, for what it is, I don't have an issue with it. Would it make my top 10 list? I don't think so.
Would it
My
make anybody's top 10 list? I mean,
Yeah, but yeah, I would say I'm with Ricardo. A 6.5 to 7 out of 10 is it's where I land at.
all right. Tracy, to close things off, your thoughts on Battle of the Super Sons.
I'm gonna tell you from the notes that I had here on my phone. So for me, it's like this. It in terms of look and that kind of feel, it felt a little bit like Smallville animated film with that met Max Fleischer. In fact, it feels a little bit more like a modernized Max Fleischer kind of story with the added Starro plot line.
I just wish the animation was as smooth, right?
But I like for me, here's the thing. When I saw the trailer of it, it's like this is edging me out. But when I sat down to watch it, once I started to watch them on the farm and everything like that, and then I figured, like I said, the Max Fleischer Smallville-esque kind of something. I was like, okay, I can get over it. Jonathan being Jonathan was kind of like what pushed me past the animation, if that makes any sense, but therein
Yeah.
lies that.
Yeah.
Like him screaming, do I get to meet Batman being his main thing when he finds out that he's a superhero? Your dad is Superman, but you're like, I love Batman. That was deeply hilarious for me. I will tell you the thing that I did not care for, and it might sound political or whatever, but I did not care for that after Jim Lee and DC and everyone has made a pointed effort to make sure that Superman is now truth, justice, and a brighter tomorrow.
All right,
That
yeah. They went
scene-
back to the American.
They
way
went
thing,
back to
yeah.
truth.
Yeah,
You because you're saying that you're the world's hero,
I
but
saw
you're
that.
there about
Yeah.
truth,
I
justice,
noticed
and-
that. I did notice that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and I
Went back to the
Yeah.
American way line. Yeah. Okay.
Right.
my brain went all different places with Zaslav involvement. I just didn't want to go there. Just like, I didn't need it. Damien and John being a mood is a mood. I quite like that. I particularly loved him throwing Jonathan off the watchtower.
To fly.
The callback.
Yeah.
Is that
Yeah.
the juice?
Yes.
Yeah.
For me, the parallel that I had to that was there was the first movie that we meet Damien in years ago, and he asks Batman to drive the car, and Batman tells him no. And then at the end of the film, when Talia is dead, presumably, and everything's fine, he says to Batman, "Can I drive the car?" "No, you can't drive the." And that kind of callback jokes, I'm always a big fan of that. I enjoyed it. I liked it. I think it had a really nice warm feeling, even though the coming out of the mouth thing, and honestly the whole eye exploding, that was a little too much heights for me. But I realized, oh my god, that's happening. And I sat down and watched the Suicide Squad. You would think that I would be fine, but that was a whole heights for me. But for me personally, I would give it 7.5 out of 10. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I will probably go back again and watch it ever so
I did like
often.
the crypto sequence a lot when crypto was chasing them.
Mhm.
I did
Oh
enjoy
yes,
that a lot.
yes. Yeah.
I
You
thought
know,
that was funny.
I really enjoyed it. I really like it. I tell you, the only major gripe for me, really was that Truth, Justice, and American Way. That grind me in ways that I did not realize it would grind me. Whoa, right. And finally, I do love. There's certain parallels that they do with the old 70s classic Superman. Like when Jonathan is reading the history of the Daily Planet at the beginning, that is the opening sequence of the 70s film, and you see the Daily Planet, a beacon of blah, 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 and then it pulls
Right.
Yeah, it don't have a bunch of solid homages and things. I noticed most of that shit.
Yeah,
I didn't notice most of that. Yeah.
I was like, yes, I know that. It's like that Leonardo DiCaprio meme. That was me. But yeah, solid 7.5 out of 10. I enjoyed it.